say good morning to the sisters and brothers that are watching us live on the internet. As always, it is good to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. You know, for the people that are listening on the through the PA system on the phone, I'm going to try and talk you through some of these numbers because we have a little blackboard work here. And we're going to deal with this lesson that the Lord calls me to put together, because I always say all the time that if you understand the 23rd chapter of Leviticus, these are the Lord's feast days, you understand what the Lord is doing. And we're going to get a close look at it today. In fact, the title of this lesson is called The Feast of the Lord. The Feast of the Lord. You hear a lot of people have rituals, but but without understanding. Like on the Passover, you have people that are still killing the lamb, and people sitting around eating bitter herbs and lamb. They don't have a clue of what these feasts stand for. The Lord is not a God of rituals, sisters and brothers. He do not give you stuff to do just to keep you occupied. Everything that the Lord do is all about informing you. This is what I want you to know so you can get salvation. And we're going to show you that the Lord tells you the same story over and over and over again, so it will get it impressed in your mind. This is what you must do to get to where I want you to be. And where I want you to be is just like me. And most people, they don't even deal with this because the Old Testament ain't no good. Then you have some people that have acknowledged the Sabbath day, that Saturday is the Sabbath day, but they don't really understand what it means. You have people that call themselves Pentecostal. They don't understand what it means. And I'm going to tell you something, sisters and brothers. I keep saying it all the time. I'm quoting Stevie Wonder. If you believe in something that you don't understand, you suffer. It's all that simple. It's all about understanding. That's what it's about. And the Lord said by the prophet Daniel that, look, close up the book. So they're going to run, in the last days, they're going to run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And we have to deal with the knowledge when the Lord increases, sister and brother. People tell me, well, we didn't do that 5-6 years ago. I didn't know about it 5-6 years ago. It's all that simple. As the Lord increased our understanding, we're supposed to put it on the table. But this here is not just fine. This is nothing new, but we're going to understand this. We're going to start this in in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, because that's where it all started. The Lord took this 23rd chapter of Leviticus to tell you his whole plan. And if you ritualize it, you don't hear nothing that the Lord is saying. But we're going to deal with this. 23, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 1, 23 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocation.
Go ahead.
Even these are my feasts.
He said, these are my feasts. You shall proclaim to be holy convocation, holy assemblies. Go ahead and read.
6 days shall work be done. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest.
Go ahead.
And holy convocation. You shall do no work thereing.
Now, go ahead.
It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwelling.
Now, the first thing here, sister and brother, we're going to let you know something. That's why I drew this thing on the board. We have the weekly Sabbath day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what he gave man. Man is inside of this box, sisters and brothers. He don't get no further. Because when man was created, the first day that he was created, that's when it started. And the Lord said, you have 6 days for work to be done, but the 7th is the Lord's rest. But still, during that 7th day, sisters and brothers, the Lord is going to be teaching people. That's the millennium period. And all of these people are not all men are not saved in the same time. You're saved in your generation. That's why you have to have this. Go ahead and read.
These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations.
Go ahead.
Which ye shall proclaim in their season. And the 14th day of the first month at evening is the Lord's Passover.
Now the Lord did something here. Man fell off the hook, and when man sinned against God, the first thing is animals died, because the Lord had to make them skins of coat. But then the Lord has shown us, even in Hebrews, that the blood of bulls and goats could not remove sin. Right. So that animal that died when Adam and them sinned could not do it, so somebody else had to die, Jesus. This is what this Passover represents. Now this is, all of a sudden you have a one-day Passover. That's the day that the Lord started this thing. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. Go ahead and read.
And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord.
Now, and on the 15th day of the same month is the 15th of unleavened bread. So what do we have here? So we have unleavened bread is for 7 days, sisters and brothers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you got the feast of unleavened bread, 7-day Passover is equal to 8 days, isn't it? But I want to let you know something, sisters and brothers. It is no accident that the feast of unleavened bread came after the Passover, because leavening represents sin. So once you have passed under the blood, you have divested your sin, sisters and brothers. That's why I tell people when they go in that pool, you go in dirty, you come out clean. How long you stay clean is up to you. So people think, I'm just letting you know how the Lord is orchestrating this thing very carefully. Because he said, because sin is represented by leavening. So if you become unleavened, that means you're sin-free. Isn't that correct? So we're going to start this. Let's start this a little further. Let's go back to Exodus, the 12th chapter. See, but I just wanted to know, sisters and brothers, like in the 2nd chapter of Genesis, you can read that on your own. The Lord said he was finished from all of his work. So if he is finished from all of his work, then there's nothing else to do. Isn't that correct? But we see he had to come and die for the sins of the people. Now let's look at this. Exodus 12, and we're going to start at verse 1. Exodus 12 and 1. Because we're going to get some sense out of this, sister and brother, because the Lord put it there so you would get some sense out of it. Exodus 12 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
Go ahead.
Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, And the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house.
Is there a lamb for an house? Skip down to verse 5 and go ahead.
Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year.
Go ahead.
You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats.
Now, your lamb has got to be without blemish. That means he can't have no sin, no spots in it. And he has got to be the firstborn. That's why I tell people all the time, when you have that still killing the lamb for Passover, I say, you are wrong. You go to a store, you buy you a lamb. Head is gone, feet gone, guts gone, everything gone. Could be a greyhound. Second thing is, if you are going to do it, you have to get a female lamb. And she got to have a firstborn, which is a male lamb. And on the 10th day, you put him up, and then you kill him on the 14th day. I say it all the time, if you're going to do wrong right. At least it look like you got some sense. So you put him up. And on the 14th day, they're going to kill this lamb. What verse was that?
We have verse 6 now.
Go ahead and read.
And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day.
Can't kill it the day before. Now remember, this lamb got to be killed on the 14th day. That lamb you buy at the store probably was killed 2-3 weeks, killed on the slaughter pen, brought one in the truck, put in the store, and saved until you come in there and bought it. And you come in and you buy it from me on the 13th so you can eat it on the 14th. Wait a minute. He already dead. In other words, sister and brother, I'm saying pay attention to what you're doing. You didn't miss the whole meaning, but if you're going to be stupid, be smart stupid. And you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. Go ahead and read.
And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat it.
So you get it, and you strike it over the doorpost. You have to put it over the doorpost of the house where you are. So if you done bought a lamb and you don't have that particular lamb's blood to put over the doorpost of your house, you still messing up.
Right.
Go ahead and read.
And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it.
So now with this particular lamb, you got to eat with unleavened bread. You can't eat with leavened bread. Because leavening represents sin, sisters and brothers. So now you got to deal with that. So what lamb does this represent? That represents Jesus, sisters and brothers. But all the prophets told you about him. That's why I don't understand why the Israelites don't understand who this guy is. Now let's go and look at this same thing. When it's taken now to the spiritual realm. Let's go into Matthew, the 26th chapter. But you can keep your a marker here because we're going to be in and out of Leviticus. Matthew 26. That speaker acting up over here now. Any way you can cut it off? Do we need that? Matthew chapter 26. We're going to start reading at verse 17. 26, and we're going to start reading at verse 17. Here, we're talking about the Passover, sisters and brothers. 26 and 17. Go ahead and read.
Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, Where wert thou that we prepare to thee to eat the Passover?
Now, you know, sisters and brothers, sometimes we got brothers that read this and they try to say that the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread is the same. Peter told you that you have a most sure word of prophecy. We know that we just read that the Passover is on the 14th day.
That's right.
And the Feast of Unleavened Bread is on the 15th day. And it's said repeatedly. So we understand what they're trying to say. That don't mean that you have to eat unleavened bread all day on the Passover, because remember, you eat that night.
That's right.
So they said, where is it that we could go and prepare the Passover?
Right.
Go ahead and read.
And he said, Go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, The master said, My time is at hand.
Go ahead.
I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples.
See, Jesus knew that he was supposed to die that night. So he said, my time is at hand. I'm going to eat this with my disciples. Go ahead and read.
And the disciples did as Jesus had appointed them. And they made ready the Passover.
And they made ready the Passover. Now skip down to verse 26. Verse 26 and go ahead.
And as they were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, Take, eat, this is my body.
He's letting you know this bread represents my body. Same thing that it was when he met Abraham. When he was under his original old priest named Melchizedek. Go ahead and read.
And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, Drink ye all of it.
Go ahead.
For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sin.
And you know, people think this is brand new. Melchizedek met Abraham with bread and wine. He's the priest of the Most High God. He was an immortal. Go ahead and read.
But I say unto you,
I
will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom.
He says, I'm telling you, I'm not going to do this again until I drink it anew. And let's eat also the supper anew in my Father's kingdom. Why is that, sisters and brothers? Why is that? I'll show you why it is. Let's go into 1 Corinthians, the 5th chapter. 1 Corinthians, the 5th chapter. These things look small, but they tell a big story. That's why the Lord tell you to, you have to eat this book. Like he told Ezekiel, eat the roll. Told John, eat the book. Said in David, open your mouth wide and I'll fill it. But he's talking about your mind, sisters and brothers. Small things say a whole lot. 1 Corinthians, the 5th chapter, we're going to read one verse, verse 7. 1 and 7. Read it.
Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump.
First thing you said, purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump. That means you got to be purged, don't you?
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
As ye are unleavened.
As you are unleavened, go ahead.
For even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us.
For even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us. So who is the real Passover lamb? Jesus. That's why when they had the Passover in down in Egypt, the next 7 days was the feast of unleavened bread, because your old sins supposed to have been purged. But the only thing is, man, each one of these days, we showed another lesson, stands for 1,000 years. That means that the Lord had to purge sin in every generation. Every day that he gave God. That's why you labor. He had to purge sin on the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, and seventh day. Take a whole 7 days to clean this, because somebody is born in every generation that need to have some sin purged, because we even born in sin. Y'all understand? So now, this Passover didn't represent the end of the one or do-all, that only represented a beginning. It began when he died on the cross. That was the beginning. But look how many people have been born now. Look how many people in here had to be baptized after they repented from their sin. So if it was only for that generation, then we can't be purged. But if it was for all generations, then we don't need to be purged. Every day, sisters and brothers. We're going to show you. So what do we have here? What do we have here? We have 7-day Sabbath, a weekly Sabbath, 7 days. Unleavened bread, 7 days. The Lord trying to tell us something, sisters and brothers. And we're going to understand today what he's trying to tell us. But let's go back to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, and we're going to start at verse 6. Told you to keep your marker there. Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, and we're going to start at verse 6. 23 and 6. 23 and 6. Okay, read it.
And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord.
On the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. Go ahead and read.
7 days you must eat unleavened bread.
How many?
7 days.
That means you have to be clean all this time. Oh, I'm not saying that you ain't going to commit no sin. What it's telling you is, don't sin willfully. Hebrews tell you that. But this thing, in every generation, it is the same, sisters and brothers. The Lord don't change. 7 days. He didn't say, well, on the first 2-3 days, you eat unleavened bread. Then the next one, you're on your own. It don't matter. You got to deal with this thing in every generation. Same gospel. Same word. Same law. Nothing changed. Go ahead and read.
And the first day you shall have an holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. But you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days.
He said on the first day, he said, offering made by fire. You're going to have a holy convocation. The first day, what verse was that?
We're in the middle of 8.
Go ahead.
And the 7 days in holy convocation, you shall do no servile work therein.
And the 7 days of holy convocation, you shall do no servile work therein. So, sisters and brothers, so now what do we have here? We have 1 day Passover, then we have 7 days of unleavened bread. Either way it go, we are dealing with a 1-day feast and we are dealing with a 7-day feast. 1-day feast, because Passover is a feast. That's what the book called it. It's a time to rejoice, because that's represent a time when the Lord have actually made it possible for you to become an immortal again. Right. But then you got to work on this thing. 6 days you shall labor, but the 7th day is a day of rest. So it's a 7 days, sisters and brothers. 1 day started it, 7 more days it take you to finish it. People have never laid it to heart why Jesus rose on the seventh day. He couldn't wait until Sunday, like they say, because that's the beginning of a brand new something else. So you can't go into brand new something else being what you used to be. He went in the man in the grave before the seventh day was out, before the seventh day came up in the middle of the week, but he had to come out before the sun went down on the seventh day. When Jesus went in the grave, he was man. He called himself Son of Man. But when he came out of the grave, he was God, point blank. Think about it. Now let's go back to Exodus, the 12th chapter now. We're going to look at something here. Exodus chapter 12. And we're going to start reading at verse 15. 12 and 15. 12 and 15. Because it's just letting you know. Now, we know that Jesus is the real Passover now, don't we? We read that. So when you put yourself on the blood of Jesus, you're supposed to dispense with willful sin, sisters and brothers. In other words, you got to start keeping that law, because the definition of sin is the transgression of the law. It's all that simple. Verse 15, go ahead.
7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses.
Go ahead.
For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day unto the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel.
The Lord is telling you point blank, the day that you walk into his covenant, you're supposed to put away sin. Well, I'll stop sinning maybe when I'm going to do this now, and I'm going to clean myself up 2-3 years from now. The first day. And how long are you supposed to maintain unleavened or sin-free? Until the seventh day. In other words, when the Lord comes, he tell you in Ezekiel, if a man sins against him and he died in sin, he going to forget all the good he used to be, even if he did well. But if a man been doing evil all the time and he turned from evil, the day that he turned from evil, the Lord catch him in his righteousness, he going to forget all the evil that he's done, and he going to be saved by his righteousness. So it's where the Lord catch you at. That's where when he going to collect. I don't say, well, I'm going to be good, I'm going to turn to the Lord when I get a little older, when I got all the crap out of my system. The Lord might kill you that very night. Now all that crap going to take you to the lake of fire. So he said, you purge it out that very first day. Go ahead and read.
And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation.
And in the first day you're supposed to have a holy assembly, just like we had. Go ahead and read.
And in the seventh day there shall be an holy convocation.
And in the seventh day should be a holy convocation. Go ahead and read.
No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you.
Go ahead.
And you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall you observe this day and your generations by an ordinance forever.
Now look, sisters and brothers, in Egypt you was a captive, you was a slave. Until you got under the blood of Jesus, you was captive under sin and you were slave to sin. I'm just showing you the spiritual side of this thing. Because when we went to Jesus being the Passover, that let you know, that changed the whole complexion of it, sisters and brothers. It ain't about a physical thing. You're doing a physical thing to point out a spiritual thing. Go ahead and read.
In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses.
Go ahead.
For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land.
Same thing. Ain't no difference, sisters and brothers. Ain't no difference. There is no difference. Whatever is good for the stranger, Israel is good for the stranger. The sin that will get Israel cut off will get the stranger cut off. You understand? That's why I never could understand the thing. That's why I took issue with Paul. Then when they said that the Gentile, the stranger, didn't have to be circumcised. Wait a minute. God told Abraham he had to be circumcised. But then again, too, the Lord told you, even the ordinance of the Passover, if a stranger would eat of a Passover, let all his male be circumcised, then let him come near and eat of it. Ezekiel told you, well, look, God said, when my temple is here, ain't no stranger uncircumcised, and the mind or the flesh going to come into my sanctuary. I'm trying to tell you something, sisters and brothers. So next time you hear somebody say, well, you know, now we talking about circumcision of the flesh. You think that was said in the New Testament first? Moses said, circumcise the foreskin of your heart and be no longer stiff-necked, sister and brother. So what you see physically is giving you a spiritual thing. If you are uncircumcised, you couldn't eat of the physical lamb because he's the lamb of the Passover. If you're uncircumcised physically, it's still the same thing. You cannot take part of the real Passover. According to what we read, who is that?
Jesus.
That's what I'm saying, sisters and brothers. They ain't got nothing to do with physical. This physical is giving you a spiritual thing. Now let's go on another thing and look at now, after all this that come out the Passover and come out the unleavened bread, let's look at something here now. Let's go back to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. Because we want you to see what's going on. The Lord told it all to you. Told you first he died for your sins to clean you up. Now to show him and let you know that once he cleaned you up, you got to stay clean. Now, I always tell people, because I don't want you to fall and say, well, you know, I can't recover. I'm just cut off now. It's all over. No. If you do something, sin inadvertently, unintentionally, when you find out about it, all you do is tell the Lord to forgive you and don't do it again. That's all that simple. He know you ain't going to make it all of your life without committing some kind of sin. But the one that do it purposely and the one that stays in it, lives in it, that's the one that's got the problem. 23 and 9. Leviticus 23 and verse 9. Now here's what you call a wave shift offering. Verse 9, go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them,
go ahead.
When ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priests.
Now, when you reap the harvest thereof, in other words, when you reap whatever you gotten out of the ground, before you eat any of it, you go and bring it to the priest. Go ahead and read.
And he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you.
Go ahead.
On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it.
Now, pay attention now. The priest going to wave it before the Lord, but he ain't going to do it until tomorrow after the Sabbath day.
Right.
Not on the Sabbath day, tomorrow after the Sabbath day. That's the first day of the weekend.
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
And ye shall offer that day, when ye wave the sheaf and he lamb without blemish of the first year, for a burnt offering unto the Lord.
That's strange, ain't it? This look like the same type lamb we had to offer when it's time for the Passover. Right. A he lamb without blemish of the first year. This lamb here, sisters and brothers, represent Jesus. Skip down to verse 14 and read it. Verse 14.
And ye shall eat neither bread nor parched corn, nor green ears,
go ahead,
until the selfsame day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings.
So now, before anybody eat any of the harvest, when you get to reap your harvest, you eat nothing, nobody eat until you take a sheaf of it to the priest and he wave it before the Lord on the first day of the week. The day after the Sabbath. Hey, that's the first day of the week. Now let's go and show you what this represents. Let's go into 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter. 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter. See, we're dealing with knowledge, sisters and brothers. We ain't dealing with rituals. Rituals mean nothing. Knowledge is what immortality is made out of. 1 Corinthians 15. And we're going to start reading at verse 20. Because it was this, always having some people running around and ain't no resurrection. You have people talking crazy like that now. Ain't no resurrection, then don't nobody have no incentive to do well. I know I don't. If I find there wasn't no resurrection, I'm wasting my time and your time. What I do is like some of these other preachers. I'd write myself a great big check out of your treasury, and I will never be heard from again. But being that I know there's a resurrection, I ain't going to do that. because I know what's going to be waiting on me up the road. 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 20. Verse 20, go ahead.
But now is Christ risen from the dead and become the first fruits of them that slept.
Now that's what it's talking about. He is risen from the dead, and he's become the first fruit of them that sleep. See that harvest that you waving when you get it out the ground, when Israel got it, even that represented the resurrection, sisters and brothers. That's why Jesus had to die and be buried, because the harvest represented him. Go ahead and read.
For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead. For as in Adam all die, even so in Christ shall all be made alive.
Adam sinned and brought in death.
That's right.
Now, Jesus is the one that died for your sin, and he took it off the table. You don't have to deal with it no more. So, since man came death, by man came the resurrection of the dead. All died in Adam, but all shall be made alive in Jesus. Go ahead and read.
But every man in his own order.
But every man in his own order.
Christ the first fruits. Afterward, they that are Christ at his coming.
He is the firstborn from the dead, sisters and brothers. Enoch didn't count. Enoch was an example. He never died. Jesus was the firstborn from the dead. That make him the first fruit. But is anybody else going to be raised after that? Only at his coming. So everybody that's ever died, what is this telling you right here? Still dead. This is, that's New Testament. That's why I can't understand that funeral. They always go to the funeral. A guy going to tell you, well, this is not Sister Jones. That's just her shell. She in heaven looking down. Wait a minute, you just called the Bible a lie. Now let's go and show you that now. For what day was the first fruit waved on, sisters and brothers? On the first day, what? Day after the Sabbath. Because when the Lord went in, he was man. When he came out, he was God. And he had to wait until the first day, because that first day represents the first day of man's non-existence. Only God now. But we're going to point that out. Let's go back to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. Because I just want to let you know what that harvest means. Because see, the Lord ain't dealing with no ritual. Well, we have a ritual. That guy go out and he going to grow him a garden. He going to go and pull him up some tomatoes and some onions. And he going to face the east and he going to wave. You got people doing stuff like that. So what you doing, man? What have you accomplished? Oh, man, the Bible said a lot of stuff. Do you understand it, though? The whole thing is, sisters and brothers, the Lord tell you, get wisdom and knowledge, but with all you're getting, get understanding. Because that's what's going to get you across the river. Leviticus 23, and we're going to start reading at verse 15, 23 and 15. Go ahead and read.
And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete.
So now, the day that you made the wave sheaf offering, which is on the first day of the week, you're going to count 7 Sabbaths. 7 times 7 is what?
49.
49. Until when?
Eat a day after Sabbath.
Until the day after the Sabbath. Read the next verse.
Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days. And ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord.
Now look, from the first, you did 7 Sabbaths plus 1. The morrow after Sabbath, that's 50 days. That's where Pentecost come from. Pentecost only means 50. But then he said, you shall wave a new meat offering. This is another crop of harvest here. A new meat offering. Let's see what we have to offer with this meat offering. Go ahead and read.
You shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2 tenth deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baken with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Lord.
Wait a minute. The first one, remember, you had to have unleavened bread with him. But these they shall baken with leaven. In other words, sisters and brothers, the first lamb had no sin. But the rest of them was purged of their sin. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and read.
And ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock, and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord, with their meat offering and their drink offerings, even an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto the Lord.
Now, the key thing is, this time you're going to offer, the lamb is the key here. How many? 7, because that's a complete, sisters and brothers. So these, you offered 1 lamb, without blemish. And here you're going to offer 7 lambs without blemish. They was sin. They had sin. But why is it that they became without blemish? They came under the blood, sisters and brothers. Remember, the Feast of Unleavened Bread come after the Passover. So even though they were sinners, which is represented by leaven, when they came under the blood, they became 7 lambs in the first resurrection, people that had no sin. Because the Lord ain't going to raise no sinners from the dead, sisters and brothers. Y'all understand where this thing is going? And the Lord said, how long you supposed to do this? Skip down to verse 21. Verse 21. Go ahead.
And ye shall proclaim on the selfsame day, that it may be in holy convocation unto you. You shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations.
So now, sisters and brothers, you had 1 tomorrow after the Sabbath, which came after the Passover, because before the fruit can come out the ground, it had to be planted. This is what I tell people all the time. They say, well, how do you come up with Pentecost, start to count? What you got to do is find out when Jesus came out of the ground. Once he came out of the ground, whether he came Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, or Friday, unless he came out of the ground a day before the first day of the week, which is Sunday, you have to go to the next first day of the week, because it always has to take place on the first day of the week. So if he rose Monday, you got to go to Sunday. If he rose Tuesday, you got to go to Sunday. If he rose Thursday or Friday, you got to go to Sunday. Because the Lord, in order to get 7 Sabbaths, you always have to start with what? 1. Man's creation on the earth, the day that he was created, that was his first day, what? So when you get to 7, first thing is, Jesus the first fruit. Then you count 50 days later, and here come another crop of first fruit. That's us, sisters and brothers. First resurrection. This is what this feast is telling you here. So what do we have here? We have a 7-day weekly Sabbath. At the end of the weekly Sabbath, man don't exist no more. Then we have a 7-day Feast of Unleavened Bread, after you have been purged for sin. So we're talking 8-day feast here. You notice the 7 is constant? Ain't nothing changed. 7 is constant. Let's go into Acts, the 2nd chapter, because we're going to look at this Pentecost here. Acts chapter 2. Most people don't understand what Pentecost means. It only means 50, but what does it represent? It represents the first resurrection. That's what it represents. It don't represent speaking in tongues. But that's what people have gotten out of it. I'm not saying you can't speak in tongues. I never have. You know, I was learning a little Spanish, but I forgot that as soon as I got out of high school. But other than that, I can't speak in tongues. Because tongues, we're going to show you, merely mean another language. Acts 2:1. Acts 2:1. Acts 2:1. Okay, go ahead.
And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place.
See, these are all Israelites here. Ain't nobody changed. They still don't do it. Day of Pentecost, they tell them this is when the church took over. The church went on the day of Pentecost. They didn't have nothing. Look at all these feasts we got. What are all these other people all over the world that are non-Israelite? Oh, that's the Jews' feast. attitude, saying. So when the day of Pentecost was fully come, all these people was there. Go ahead and read.
And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind.
Uh-huh.
And it filled all the house where they were sitting.
Go ahead.
And there appeared unto them cloven tongues, like as of the fire, and it sat upon each of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Ghost and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance.
Now, we aren't going to deal with that today. We have a lesson on that. We are dealing with these feast days. We can't deal with every little thing. But they was all there. Go ahead and read.
And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven.
Now, what was all these Jews? They come from all over because it was the law. They had to come to Jerusalem, you know, and keep the day of Pentecost, right, like they had to keep all the feasts. So they was all as Jews. Nobody else was there concerning the feast, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
Now, when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language.
That's what tongues merely means, sisters and brothers. You're speaking in another language. So they all came and it was all confounded because they all heard them speak in their own language. How can I speak my language and everybody hear them in their own language? You see it all the time at the United Nations meeting, don't you? God got his thing in his ear. The speaker is speaking in his language. The rest of them are translating it to the language of their dignitaries. So that's what them fiery tongues was doing. That's why I sat by each one of them, sisters and brothers. Sure, they spoke in tongues. They spoke in their own. I'm going to show you what I'm saying. Go ahead and read here.
And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans?
They didn't say, are not all these which speak Jews, did they? Well, not all these which speak Galileans. Go ahead and read.
And how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born?
So how is that we hear, everyone else hear our own language as we were born? Because them tongues was translated, sisters and brothers. That's why the Lord tell you to get understanding so you know what's going on. Go ahead and read.
Parthians and Medes and Elamites and the dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia and Egypt and the parts of Libya and about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes.
All of these sisters and brothers were Israelites, every one of them. Skip down to verse 13 and go ahead.
Others mocking said, These men are full of new wine.
Now, how can you get drunk enough to speak in all them languages? I done got pretty drunk. I done got so drunk I lost my car 2-3 times. But I always spoke the same language. Go ahead and read.
But Peter, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice and said unto them, Ye men of Judea, and all ye that dwell at Jerusalem, be this known unto you, and hearken to my word. For these are not drunken as ye suppose.
Now he addressed Israelites, didn't he? And these are not drunken as you suppose. Go ahead and read.
Seeing it is but the third hour of the day. But this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel. And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh.
Go ahead.
And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. And your young men shall see visions. And your old men shall dream dreams.
Now he said, look, Joel prophesied this. Your sons and your daughters are going to see vision. The old man going to dream. And your daughter's going to prophesy. Woman, sister, well, I can preach. Look, sister and brother, anybody can give a message, but only males the Lord picked to administer the law. So, sister, if you have it in your mind you want to be a preacher, throw it out. But I will say the knowledge that the Lord has invested in you, if you're sitting around, if you're talking or something on your job, or a group of people come up and get to talking, and you see them say wrong, then you are compelled by the knowledge within you to correct them. But it is not your job to step up here where I am. We have a lesson for that too. Be patient. We'll get to it. Go ahead and read. What verse?
Verse 18. And on my servants and on my handmaids I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy.
Ain't that something? He said, they shall prophesy. He didn't say, and they shall teach. You understand what I'm saying? But what you know, you have to pass it on. That don't have nothing to do with gender. It's just certain station you cannot take, sister and brother. Go ahead and read.
And I will show wonders in heaven above.
Now, we getting clean. We going someplace else now. Look what he's saying. I will show wonders in heaven above. Go ahead.
And signs in the earth beneath. Blood and fire and vapor of smoke.
Go ahead.
The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood,
before
the great and notable day of the Lord come.
Wait a minute. Did that happen on the day of Pentecost?
No, it did not.
Sun didn't go down. Moon didn't go down. If it did, what time is then he is talking about? That's why Peter said, Joel prophesied at this time. That was the beginning of the end. The Passover have been made. Now man can become immortal. But that was the beginning of the end. This thing came all the way down. Let's see what's going to happen when the moon's going to turn red and the sun's going to go out. Let's go into Matthew, the 24th chapter. Back up to Matthew, the 24th chapter. That's why you have to investigate stuff, sisters and brothers. Don't tell me where Jesus came. I didn't see none of that stuff happen. I said, you done got his coming confused. You have to know what time this is supposed to happen. Matthew 24. We're going to start at verse 27. 24 and 27. Because it's letting you know what time it is. Verse 27. Go ahead.
For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Now let's talk about the coming of Jesus, ain't it? So what time is this coming going to take place? Skip down to verse 29. Verse 29, go ahead.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days.
So now a lot of people don't even know what this is talking about because they ain't never heard of the Great Tribulation. What you mean? After the tribulation of what day? That let me know you have not been taught. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, that's the Great Tribulation, what's going to happen?
Shall the sun be dark.
Sun going to be darkened.
And the moon shall not give her light. And the stars shall fall from heaven. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
Now, so now this is what Peter was quoting that Joel said, ain't it? Go ahead and read.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Also
now upon this end time, sisters and brothers, on the Pentecost, the day of Pentecost, which represents the year that the Lord's going to come. That's what Pentecost represents. This is the year. This is the first fruit that came after the first fruit. At the coming of the real first fruit. Y'all understand? That Jesus Christ the first fruit, and those that are his at his coming. Before the Lord come, the sun going to turn black. The moon going to turn red. Stars going to fall, and heaven going to roll back like a scroll, and he's going to be sitting there, and every eye going to see him. And you're going to look at him for at least 5 months. It ain't like, bam, here I come. Think about it. Joel spoke about this because Peter quoted on the day of Pentecost, didn't he? Right. But he said, this is what's happening on this day. This is what the prophet spoke about. So all this stuff can't take place in a day, but it's going to take place in the year of Pentecost. Right. Go ahead and read.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
So now that's when the Lord going to start to gather Israel. Israel is the Lord's elect. Well, you just learned something else. Israel as a people cannot be taken back to the land until the Lord is here. This is an absolute. So if anybody there call himself Israel, you might have a little handful of brothers stuck out on a nuclear waste site. But who is really in charge of Israel? He is not him. Then again, too, they call everybody a Jew. There are 12 tribes in Israel. And only the one that came out of Judah is a Jew. Think about it. So now, the trumpet going to be blown. What else is going to happen when that trumpet blows? Let's go into 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. All of this is going to take place on Pentecost. All of this is going to take place on the year of Pentecost. 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. We're going to start reading at verse 13. 1 Thessalonians 4 and 13. These things, sisters and brothers, are not hard to understand. You just have to open the book and read them. 4 and 13. Go ahead.
But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep.
Go ahead.
That ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope.
Now he's telling me, I don't want you to be ignorant of one thing. Don't sorrow over the people that died right. Because if they died right, you ain't got to sorrow over them. You better weep for yourself. Right. You got to get to where they are. Go ahead and read.
For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep.
Now those of us alive that be living when Jesus comes, we ain't going to get in the way of those that are dead. Go ahead and read. So what's going to happen? Go ahead.
For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first.
And the dead in Christ shall rise first. Go ahead.
Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air.
Now, and then from now, sister, finish that. Go ahead.
And so shall we ever be with the Lord.
And if Zechariah the 14th chapter, you can read it on your own. That's going to bring you back to the earth, sister and brother. So now, this coincides with what we read in Corinthians. Isn't that right? That's right. Christ the first fruit, and those that are healed at his coming. Now, these people was not raised and changed and met the Lord until he started his descent. Everything coincides, sisters and brothers, but this modern day teaching. But if we understood what all this meant, then we will know that the Lord has told the whole story in the 23rd chapter of Leviticus. The whole story is told here. Now let's go back. So now we know that the blowing of the trumpet, that's going to bring the trumpet's going to bring the Lord, sisters and brothers. We know that. Now let's go into Leviticus, the 23rd chapter again. But let's back up a little bit. We just got through with the trumpets. I missed that, but I'm going to still pick it up. 23rd chapter of Leviticus, and let's start reading at verse 23. Verse 23. Because I want you to understand all of these things that took place have to take place. Because the Lord has set it out. 23 and 26. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord, 23 and 26.
23rd chapter of Leviticus. And we're going to start at verse 26. Okay. Leviticus 23 and 26. Okay, go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, And on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be in holy convocation unto you, and you shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Now, it's a day of atonement. You shall afflict your soul and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. We do that, don't we? We afflict our souls, sisters and brothers. How do we do that? By fasting, don't we? Go ahead.
And you shall do no work in that same day. For it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
Now, you don't do no work in that day, because it's a day of atonement that the Lord has got to make atonement before Jesus made an atonement to the Father. We're going to show you that. We're going to show you that. But before this happened, I want to back up and read something, because I still missed it. Let's go to Leviticus 23, and let's start at verse 23. Right. 23 and 23, because I missed trumpets. I want to pick the trumpets up. Go ahead and read it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, And the 7th month, and the first day of the month, shall you have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets and holy convocation.
Now, this is why the Lord couldn't come until the trumpet was blown.
That's right.
This is why Israel could not be gathered until the trumpet was blown, sisters and brothers. Go ahead.
You shall do no servile work therein, but you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Now, this represents the blowing of the trumpets, and Gabriel don't blow one of them, sisters and brothers. You got 7 angels that's going to blow 7 trumpets. And when the 7th trumpet is blown, here come the Lord. When the 7th trumpet is blown, first resurrection. And after the 7th trumpet is blown, when the Lord get here, now he'll come to gather other people. Oh, let's start when the Lord is come. But now we go to the Day of Atonement. You have to also observe that. Now let's go back and start back at the Day of Atonement here. Let's start at verse 26 again. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and you shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Now, he says, it should be a holy gathering. This is what the holy convocation is, sisters and brothers. A holy gathering unto you, and you shall afflict your souls and have an offering made by fire. The offering is always, since we don't kill no animals because Jesus died.
That's right.
Let's stop the animal sacrifice. What verse are we?
We're at 28.
Go ahead.
And you shall do no work in that same day.
Now this day, it didn't say servile work. This is the day you do no work, because this represents the atonement that Jesus paid for you, and we're going to show you this. Go ahead and read.
For it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
See, somebody had to pay your bill. That's what atonement was.
We would like to invite you to join us on the Sabbath Day Live via the internet. Log on to our website, which is www.theisraelofgod.com. Click on the link Sabbath Day Live on our homepage. You will need Windows Media Player to view our program. We stream live twice every Sabbath at 10 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. Central Time. If you enjoy our program, we would appreciate your donations to help defer the cost of continuing this work. Send donations to the Israel of God, 2515 East 75th Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60649. Also, if you're in the Chicago area, please feel free to join us at our study class located at 2515 East 75th Street here in Chicago.